doing unprotected sex. So someone that's promiscuous and they are having protective sex, they're more likely not to get an STI. So for instance, when you look at like body count and how women and men perceive each other, which I think with Romeo, what Romeo said was kind of true, how men perceive like sex for men is a very celebrated thing, and for women it's like wait until you get married and then all of a sudden you have to pull out the woodworks and all of a sudden be comfortable with sex, right? But it's been demonized all your life, and it's not fair because women should be able to express themselves, and sex is a normal part of your reproductive health, and women should be able to do that as well. So body count, this idea that men think women are impure just because they've got more body count, it's nonsense. And men that are going and having sex drive and feel the need that women are pleasuring them and women should not cover themselves up or they're gonna get tempted, you need to calm down and find some form of self-discipline. Thanks. I think it's even though men have less of a risk, which is a reality, it's a reality that men actually have so many freedoms when it comes to things, and it's a messed up thing. But I believe that if as a society and as you bring up kids and bring up men in this world, that whole idea that it being a good thing that men have multiple women and they don't look after their kids, or it's not even like they just laugh about it. It's a bad thing, like it's terrible.
Is anything that anyone ever does from time to time that's hurtful towards you ever about you, or is it about themselves and what they truly wanted in that moment? About how infidelity can actually aid a relationship more than it can do consequences to it, because it kind of the infidelity serves as an indication that there's like a deeper underlying problem.
Oh shit.
So
Like
so yeah. So much so that it hurts them. It hurts them to a great extent that they decide to aid the problem. So I think taking someone back after they've cheated could be great, but I can understand why people wouldn't.
I think that's actually common within single mom households, where it's like your mom's doing so much, so when there's like a desire for let's say your dad, you kind of feel like that will take away from what she's doing. So you don't wanna echo it, because it's like it should be like, oh shit, bro, I'm trying to be your mom and dad and you're still seeking him after he's not here. And because you as a kid also, it's quite weird, you're aware of that, you don't want to bring it up because you'll be like, I'm kind of like tarnishing what you're doing by somewhat desiring him to be part of my life, because he's not, and he chose not to be, and if I bring it up, it will like reinforce the fact that she's, or the sense that she's inadequate. Hi guys, welcome back to Group Therapy with Romeo and Lee. How you guys doing?
We're good. It's just cold out here, but we're living our lives.
Yeah.
Nothing but terrible, but the plight of a black man ensues. Dun 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 dun.
Did anything new happen in your life since the last time we met and had a discussion for the viewers? You guys want to give them a little update? Is there any drama? No?
My mom was in hospital. Yeah, that was kind of like scary, because sometimes your parents get to like this certain age where it's just like, even something like flu scares you. It's just like, damn, I hope my mom doesn't get taken away by flu or anything. So yeah, I was just calling her 3 times a day because I couldn't go visit her. But thankfully she got discharged and she's feeling better, because I can't imagine a life without her. She's my everything. So yeah.
Cool. Glad that she's okay.
Yeah.
What about you?
Just finished exam. Well, not really finished, but went through a difficult exam, and finished clinical section of 5th year. So that was interesting, but nothing really intense. Sorry, Romeo, about your mom.
It's okay. She's fine. I said sorry like she's gone.
No, I'm saying
alive and
sorry.
well.
I'm saying sorry for that
After giving
period.
me condolences and shit.
I'm trying to be nice. I'm here.
Yo, geez.
Go away.
No, but yeah, nah, man. I get you. No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
I'm also doing my fifth year of clinical exams, and yeah, it's quite challenging, but yeah, you know, we have to take it one day at a time. You know, us future doctors.
Tough
Yeah,
life,
yeah,
eh?
tough life.
Tough life.
Yeah. This is when someone comes up with a topic or a question.
Is there anything that's happened with you?
I said school.
Well, you said school.
I said school.
How long have you been? Is this your 12th year?
Not precisely. It's my 13th.
Is it
Yeah. I might end up like Hannah Baker because of you.
Hey, shout out Hannah Baker, man. Hannah Baker was a
You
real.
don't be laughing about this deep.
We are not laughing. You are.
You were laughing.
Nah, man, Hannah Baker was a real one. You were watching 13 Reasons Why, just like, yeah. It's just traumatic, you know what I mean? Because you never really know the kind of effect that you have on like people's lives and how you make them feel about themselves, you know what I mean? So much so it gets to a point where it just accumulates and they reach their breaking point and it's like, damn, I can't handle this anymore. Let me out myself. It's
Have you ever considered outing yourself?
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, yo, dude, 13. Moved to Soweto. It was difficult making friends. I couldn't make any friends really. And then I went to a predominantly black school. So then I was labeled a snob, you know, and then I had to like learn how to actually be black, you know what I mean? And then, but like it was so difficult because it was just like, you know, I was so lonely, and you know, there was one time I was like, you know, in the bathtub, and then I just really just wanted to sink in and just drown, you know what I mean? And then, you know, my aunt knocked on the door. She probably thought I was like jerking off or something because I was there for a bit too long, but like, you know, I was just in despair, man. It was terrible, but I'm fine now.
I'm so lonely.
Yeah.
Shame, man. Offing yourself, Control Alt Delete.
No, but I have been like depressed and had anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have had anxiety for a very long time in my life. But shame, and thanks for sharing that story because
Yeah.
you know, even though the suicide rate is high in men, recently I think, and then the depression rate is high in women, men don't tend to speak about their depression, and that's where
Was depression high in women?
yeah.
Oh.
But they do help-seeking behavior is better in women than in men.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I saw like, sorry. They're like, sorry, this is such a bad joke. Apparently women are not efficient as comedians. Like there's a lot of like attempts with women, but it doesn't like.
It's not a bad joke. It's actually a statistic.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
but it's like the fact that I'm saying they're incompetent at like offing themselves is crazy.
Yeah, it's an insane thing to say, but it's actually like
When a guy says I'll do it, they do.
they attempt quite often. Men actually they don't attempt as much.
Men have 100% success rate.
They don't have a 100% success rate. That's
But I think
you're gonna get cancelled.
But I think we should definitely notice, you know, the signs of when someone is going through despair. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy.
I think about offing myself like every other month. It's just.
Why haven't you done it? Like, not in a rude way, but like, why?
What is the reason they kept
Why are you still here?
My mom.
Real.
Okay.
Yeah. Cause she'll fucking lose her mind if I go. Yeah.
She'd get you from
She said, "Come here, foolish boy, wake up." She's like, "Wake up." How'd you go before me, eh? Nonsense. If I beat you.
You know what she hilarious, which is no relation to this, but my dad was brought up by his grandmother, but his mother was still in the picture, but he was brought up by his grandmother.
Yeah.
And his grandmother told him if she ever finds him like smoking and like an alcoholic, she'll get up from her grave and come kill him.
African parents are actually so lit.
So he never did it. But it's deep though, like the whole suicide versus like attempting.
Yeah.
That stuff is bad.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I think more people are just prone to thinking that way, maybe, perhaps, and others, because some people, when it's brought up, they can't even fathom. Like, what? You want to just?
Yeah.
Because mine doesn't manifest in the typical sense where it's like, oh no, I hate my life. It's just like, oh, I'm tired. But on the other side, I'm gonna find out.
What's on the other side? What do you think is on the other side?
I don't know.
What do you think an ideal other side would look like?
Ooh, nothing.
Just like,
Yeah, done.
Nothing.
Shut it off.
See, so
Shut it down.
Because you do say you're tired.
Yeah, so I'm like, bye. Yeah, I don't know. I remember when I was a kid, I used to be super anxious about the afterlife and like, yeah.
what do you think that was? Like, were you not satisfied with the way the present life is?
No. I just didn't feel. I felt like there was no connection. This is me like a grade 7, questioning and asking my mom about God's existence and who made him, and the answers that I was getting were like, you mustn't question who made God, you go crazy.
Yes.
And I'm like, I'm already going crazy. I need answers.
Questioning God like will be a problem. Like you'll get like condemned or something.
Yeah.
Like lightning will shoot.
But
shoot
yeah,
at you.
my mom was a bit more open. She was just
Yeah.
like, that's a question people aren't able to answer.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
you'll never be able. Like it's so unfathomable to try and answer it. Yeah.
I was actually, so a lot of my old TikToks are like not coming back up, but there's like this feature on TikTok that shows you a video that you posted a year ago on this day, and the video that surfaced up I think today or yesterday was a video of us and I chatting about body count and why it's treated differently for
Men and
guys.
women.
Yeah. What are your guys' take on that? If you could like give a breakdown why society sees it as different, and if it holds any weight or not. We can start with Romeo.
Start ringing.
He says we become this body count podcast. Yeah.
I think it's body count in men and women is treated differently because, I guess men have the propensity to attribute pureness to women who have less, less sexual partners. So it's something that they deem unattractive, in the sense of like, if anyone can get you, then what's the whole point of, pursuing something meaningful with you? And then whereas on a man's side, it's just like, if you have a high body count as a man, it kind of, men have a propensity to praise that, so there's that male validation that comes a part of it. And also it's just like, it really fuels your ego, and you basically have this this confidence that you can get anyone that you want, and I guess when you have that confidence, sometimes it's just like attractive, because women have a propensity to be attracted to men that feel like they don't need them.
Interesting take. Let's hear what you say, and then I'll give my input.
All right, so let's break this down. Let's break this down. So society is not something that just comes off naturally. There's very few things that just naturally happens, and ideologies that we have that just naturally happens. It takes time, it takes patriarchy, it takes a lot of influences everywhere. So for instance, when you look at like body count and how women and men perceive each other, which I think with Romeo, what Romeo said was was kind of true how men perceive like sex for men is a very celebrated thing, and for women it's like wait until you get married and then all of a sudden you have to pull out the woodworks and all of a sudden be comfortable with sex, right? But it's been demonized all your life. So basically, if you look at, for instance, why I hate this man so much, but Sigmund Freud came up with the ideology of he didn't come up with it, but he spoke about the treatment of hysteria, which if you break down the word hysteria, it actually means uterus. That's why you get a hysterectomy. So it's associated with women and females being just liberated, like women that were able to speak for themselves. And even if someone was sexually expressive, those women were literally condemned and went to a mental institution about hysteria. So the longest time, not for that long, but I would say more in the Western world, and there is some African cultures as well, but I definitely think the Western world brought up this idea that women are not allowed to be liberated in their sexuality, and men are supposed to be just these power hungry, sex drive people, and women are supposed to be the submissive, quiet, keep it to yourself, which is not right. It's not fair. Why does the one have one over the other? It's kind of a double standard. And I think that basically because of that, throughout time, women have been condemned for anything. I mean, down to the point when there was birth control and women could be free sexually. They weren't bound by the fact that they might get pregnant for it. It was only given to married women. So that's even more crazy, and it was to build up this abstinence. And it's not fair because women should be able to express themselves, and sex is a normal part of your reproductive health, and women should be able to do that as well. So body count, this idea that men think women are impure just because they've got more body count, it's nonsense. And men that are going and having sex drive and feel the need that women are pleasuring them and women should not cover themselves up, or they're gonna get tempted, you need to calm down and find some form of self-discipline. Thanks.
Cool. Interesting takes from the two lads, much expected, so my perspective on it, so I was watching a podcast in Joe Rogan with David Bass. He's an evolutionary psychologist. Mm-hmm. So basically how he rationalized how society sees male and female promiscuity differently is because back in the days, and I know times have changed now, it's like the woman bears more risk. As in, let's say if we are in like the caveman days and your wife is sleeping around, you won't know like who's the father of the offspring, and innately like we wanna further on our bloodline, like we have this innate desire to continue our lineage. Mm-hmm. So that's why it was shunned upon, where as a man, if a man sleeps around, right, you still know, if the man sleeps around with the women are not sleeping around, you still know, okay, it's my offspring, and I don't have to like if I invest my resources into them, it will make sense because it's my lineage. So it was hard for them to differentiate, like, okay, is this my child or not? But obviously now we've progressed, there's DNA tests and blah, 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 and all those stuff. And you can kind of like, if you really wanted to, you can tell. But he argued that was the genesis of everything. And that's why it's like, it's somewhat shunned upon. What are your thoughts on that?
I can get that, but if you look at the certain polyamorous societies where a woman has multiple men, and how the society works is that the men bring up every child that comes into it as their own, no matter what. It's an entire circle situation, and this has been happening for hundreds of years. It's not like something that's just suddenly sprung up. It's a tribe that is very not as, how can I say, westernized as everything else.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, so I do see where he's coming from with that perspective, but I also think that there's also more to it. I don't think it's just because of that. I think it's been developed in such a way that women are always condemned for having sex, and all they always have to carry the risk. They already have to carry someone for 9 months. Now they must carry all risks and all, all propaganda. Everything must go against them, which is not fair. I think this is an important conversation to have still now, because it's still relevant now. Women's rights are always being questioned in so many countries, and I think it's still relevant.
I also think large elements of it is also because women bear more risk. So a guy can easily be a deadbeat dad. Like if you impregnate a woman, and if she's sleeping around, the likelihood of her being pregnant is higher. So it's like they kind of try and find a way to make that not a reality by just shining them, because it's like, okay, now if this person sleeps around, the probability that, especially back in those days where they weren't really contraceptives and whatever, they try and limit that, because obviously if you have multiple kids with no dad, it's a broken home, etc. And I hear what you're saying about the different societies and stuff. I don't know if that's the norm. I think that's maybe a bit of an exception. I think a lot or most of the world would don't try, they don't optimize to raise other people's offsprings or being so I think.
But what about multiple kids? There'll be a woman that isn't sexually promiscuous, and which is actually also a wrong term to use, but that's been with one guy, but that one guy is a deadbeat the whole time. So isn't that also creating broken homes by not teaching men that they should also be monogamous in those situations? If you're going according to that, then both people need to be monogamous and not just one party.
But I hear you, but the reality is that the man is being an asshole, granted, but he's still bearing less of the risk. The woman still has to leave I know they're both wrong, but whose reality gets more affected, the man or the woman? Because he's just leaving and the woman has 5 kids to raise.
But he's been impregnated her 5 times.
I know, he's wrong, but her reality is still shit.
And he probably has kids with other women as well. Yeah, so at the end of the day, you know what? The only people that you're actually messing up really, really much is the children at the end of the day. And I think it's even though men have less of a risk, which is a reality. It's a reality that men actually have so many freedoms when it comes to things. And it's a messed up thing. But I believe that if as a society, and as you bring up kids and bring up men in this world, that whole idea that it being a good thing that men have multiple women and they don't look after their kids, or it's not even they just laugh about it. It's a bad thing, it's terrible. It's not a good thing that you're a deadbeat dad and you're walking around free as a bird and your kids are there. You don't even know if your kids have eaten. You don't even know if they're going to school. You don't even know if they have clothes on your back, and you are eating from stairs. But
yeah, just I'm not arguing that it's a good thing. I'm just saying it is, I try and I try and see the world for what it is, not what I would like it to be. So the reality of that situation is that the woman will live a somewhat shittier reality than the guy that just opts to go out and do that to 5 other women. Now it's
society is not kind to women who have a promiscuous tendency, you know what I mean? And I think it's also even within women's circles. It's not just something that men project onto women. It's just, I feel even women amongst each other, I feel the first insult that they'll hurl at you is oh, you're a hoe, and you know what I mean? And it's just oh, okay, you guys also say this stuff to each other. Why is it a problem if we say it to you guys as well? You know what I mean? And it's just a whole lot of condemnation, a whole lot of condemnation. You know what I mean? Which is it's quite a sad reality.
It is quite sad. I mean, if you look at, however.
No, I don't think. How do I put this, nah?
He even went to the revive of Tate.
No, I don't. Condemnation for promiscuity isn't inherently a bad thing. You know what I mean? Whether it's within male or female, I think the consequences of promiscuity are are within themselves really terrible. For instance, like, there's research that indicates that people who tend to be more promiscuous don't last longer in marriages and relationships. You know what I mean? So the kind of cycle that it perpetuates throughout your life is there's no reward except instant gratification, and it's just a constant high that you're seeking with no real reward. And at the same time, it's just like you're more prone to a risk of, like, HIV, STIs, and everything. Really?
Yeah.
If you
Whoa, let's get wait. So I think
This is change in stats, actually.
I think whoa. If you sleep around, you're not more prone to sex.
So, like, for HIV,
yeah.
there's actually no evidence to say, like, actual sensible evidence. We even had a talk with he was one of the prosecutors in the Supreme Court last year, and he had HIV, but he's not now, and he wasn't during Nelson Mandela's time.
No.
And he was speaking about it in that, like, promiscuity, to use that word per se, isn't necessarily a risk factor. It doesn't put you as much as risk as someone that has sex once in their life with someone that has HIV. Right. So you can get it, yeah, but I understand that the likelihood for it to happen is more like, it's like you're standing in a pool of water, you're bound to get wet. But actually, certain evidence says that saying those things and putting, like, multiple partners as a question to ask for regarding HIV is actually incorrect, because someone can be sleeping with one person for all of their life and they can get HIV from them. Because they probably got HIV, that person probably got HIV from someone else. But it doesn't mean that because you are now monogamous, what it does perpetuates is that people that are monogamous believe that they can't get an STI or an HIV. Or HIV, like STIs. HIV is an STI. But, like, they feel as though, especially here in South Africa, you thinking, oh my gosh, because I'm monogamous with this one person, you don't know who that one person is sleeping with.
I hear what you're saying. Mm-hmm. I just feel like it seems more probable that you'd,
yeah,
like, so
correlation doesn't necessarily include causation, but I get what you mean.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes it's a bad thing to necessarily say when it comes to STIs and all of that. It's doing unprotected sex. So someone that's promiscuous and they are having protective sex, they're more likely not to get an STI. Because they are promiscuous, they're more aware of the fact, a lot of the times, doesn't always happen because people don't have common sense.
Protected sex, condom vesting is not very that common.
But yes, condom, yeah, but you obviously, if someone is promiscuous, they're more likely to learn and be liberal in their sexual health. Right? Whereas someone that is monogamous is less likely to do that, and they're less likely to perform protective sexual measures with their partner because they believe that they're monogamous with their partner. Therefore, you'll find that people that are monogamous tend to get STIs more likely than someone that's promiscuous. So
that's real. I hear that. I hear that.
I don't know. That's interesting. It's hard.
No, it's just from a personal, like, not personal, but like from being in hospitals, and sometimes it's not. I don't necessarily always see, but you do see that, especially more in the 90s, like back in the day, when, like, sexual health and HIV wasn't promoted so heavily. It was just on the up and coming. Yes, you did find people like prostitutes and all of that being more exposed to it. But because now of the awareness of it and how crazy hyper aware they are about those things, they do put things in place for it to be careful, for them to be, and there's PrEP. Guys, there's such things as PrEP for a lot of and treatments, like, and you've got access to that, so that can prevent you from getting it. So even if the condom broke, a lot of these prostitutes, they know where to go for PrEP and stuff, and someone that's in a monogamous relationship tends to not find that information out.
I guess it's probably something that I have to look into, because it sounds too counterintuitive for me to just, like, take it in and run with it.
A lot of things are counterintuitive when it comes to
but that's very interesting, guys. Comment and let us know what you think. I saw what was this? Jordan Peterson was saying, like, people that are promiscuous are pardon, what do you say?
I agree.
You hate that, man. You agreed. You didn't even hear the final statement.
Jordan Peterson.
You're like, it's Jordan Peterson.
It's JP, man.
They're more likely, they're more inclined to be sociopaths or psychopaths.
Psychopath.
Yeah.
I don't know the research,
likely to
the
be
evidence.
Yeah, because it's like
No.
because it's like if you're hooking up with people for a long enough time frame, it has to be self-serving and hedonistic. You have to manipulate a bunch of people.
Is that a psychopath?
Is it not?
Would that
Maybe
be a
it's a bit
psychopath?
hyperbolic, but it's just like because it's Jordan Peterson.
No, think he's your friend. Don't say because. More
What
inclined to
about the serial killers that has
psychopathy.
never had? Like, what about the serial killers that don't have sex? Like, they can't. Like, they literally don't have sex,
What about?
and they go and kill people.
Oh, I mean, look, man.
And those are actual psychopaths.
What's your definition of a psychopath?
So the definition of a psychopath is someone that's deliberately manipulative, right? And they intend to hurt others, right? Where the difference is with a sociopath, they entertain manipulative behaviors, but they don't have the intention to hurt others.
Yeah, I think it's probably sociopath.
Might be a
I
sociopath.
think
I'm not,
probably,
but I don't.
because that
So it's
aligns a bit more.
yeah. The two in psychiatry now, I think the two concepts are kind of counterintuitive. It's used more in criminal law,
Okay.
psychopath and sociopath. Now in like psychiatry, it's used as like antisocial behavior disorder and like all of those personality disorders that you define people into. I mean, you could say that people that are promiscuous, they would fall under I think it's histrionic. I could be very wrong. Personality disorder. And it's like, we kind of, how I remember it, it's always like, your typical reality star that tries to always have attention. Yeah. It's those people. So it's different in psychiatry compared to criminal psychology. It's like different two things. But yeah. But that's what I know the definition of the two to be.
That's interesting. Yeah, Jordan says they're all crazy motherfuckers because they're self-serving for a long enough time frame. You have to.
Self-serving.
Oh, why do you hate Jordan? Actually, let's
I
unpack
don't
this.
understand people who hate Jordan.
I kind of do. He says some crazy shit.
I
don't
think
agree with everything he
think
says.
I don't agree with. I don't disagree with.
Wait. Can I?
Yeah.
Do you agree with enforced monogamy?
What's enforced monogamy?
That you should pair women with guys so there's like an equal distribution of women and guys, and people like become more monogamous. So you should search it up. He later on backtracked because he got crazy backlash. But he was proposing that like if somewhat in society like women were distributed to men, it would be a better functioning society because there'll be less promiscuous women. Then later on he was like, no, I was not saying that you should give women to incompetent men. I was just making a mere observation of like it would be. So there's like I can take away the good and not say everything is good. But yeah, there's some stuff I don't agree with Jordan Peterson. Like also his perspective on religion is a bit like feels like a cop out. What do you mean by really existing? Economically, there's a Cain in all of us. I've seen more Cains than I've seen you, Richard Dawkinson.
Essentially, it's counterintuitive.
I love Jordan Peterson too much, man. It's like it's quite difficult to see him in the wrong. You know what I mean? Like it's like, for instance, like there's nothing that he'd say that I'd be able to be like to dispute, you know what I mean? Because knowing the kind of thinker that he is, he probably thinks really hard about like the things that he does say. And not to say that I don't think hard, but I feel like he has more of like a research basis as opposed to like having like anecdotal comments, you know what I mean? So that's why I have like this high tendency of like listen, fuck that.
I think he's well read. He's smart, bro. I'm like Team Jordan as well. But
he was a lecturer. He was a lecturer, guys. Lecturers are able to speak in a way that makes you believe that what they say is true, and I do think that he's got certain studies that he does do, but it's not a systematic review. I think he finds like one study that is like so pinpoint, like right there to what he wants to say, and he can't. Yeah, he's got a confirmation bias, and the way he says stuff is very anecdotal. Like he says what seems very ear catching. You know, like you're like, oh, okay, well that would make sense. Or he says things in a way that makes it make sense. And then when you actually go and look into you actually go do your own research about stuff, you actually see that he doesn't necessarily fully, or he doesn't portray it as he fully understands what's happening, you know?
Like what?
So like his idea, I think it was in Canada, they were having a specific law put in place. You can't quote me on this one because I don't fully know. But there was something about
The pronouns.
gender affirmation versus gender affirmation therapy versus the conversion therapy.
Yeah.
And he was fully against gender affirmation therapy, saying that gender affirmation therapy is not proper therapy because it is counterintuitive to what therapy is. Like, you shouldn't affirm anyone into what they believe. And then the other thing is like,
I agree.
yes, then conversion
with Joe.
therapy, he's fine with conversion therapy, even though that's the exact same thing.
What is conversion therapy?
So conversion therapy is when someone they are gay, or they are in the LGBTQ community, they're queer, and the family or they go for therapy to convert them to being straight, heterosexual. And for me, that doesn't make sense, once again, because why would you be not fine with gender affirmation therapy and you're fine with conversion therapy? You know, because that also affirms something that you are not. Do you understand?
I haven't heard that part. I know the gender affirmation therapy is
Yeah.
against, which I somewhat like, not somewhat, I do agree with his stance, because it's like in no capacity or no other avenue do we allow a child to dictate their life. But then when it comes to the genitalia, we're like, yeah, you're right. You know, let's let help you make this decision that will change, will affect you for the rest of your life. Granted, like if you wanna be a transgender person, after you're 18 and you're fully capable of making decisions, fine. But the whole notion of like getting a 12-year-old kid to decide what if they're a girl or boy and going through the surgery,
But they don't. That doesn't happen.
it does.
No, it happens in your most confusing. Like, for instance, if you look at South African legislation, that's not allowed to happen. You're not allowed to go under any surgery unless you're 18, right? You can sign it off yourself, unless it's a surgery when you're 16 or 12 where your parents can sign off for it.
I know
Right.
someone that went through surgery when she was like 15.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But her
Yeah.
parents sign?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Insert her
But
handle.
I know that with I know with her with like when you speak about like gender dysphoria,
Yeah.
right? Gender dysphoria does exist. It's not like something that's a made up thing that kind of disappeared. Like, kids do struggle with puberty and going through puberty, especially children that were necessarily brought up in not even that, because they're not always brought up in tomboys. You just have, it's scary to go through puberty and things are happening fast and you just don't understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And
Which I agree on. Like,
I think
if
that's fair. I think therapy is always a good thing, right? I think, for instance, what do you call it? What surgery is it when you transition?
Gender reassignment.
Gender reassignment surgery. I think it's like the final result in your gender dysphoria being it's like that final result.
Yeah.
Not always people go into different circles and different categories. I just think personally that we shouldn't suppress kids when it comes to those things. If they're expressing that they are having trouble with their identity, they should go to therapy to talk it through. Doesn't necessarily mean that the therapist should say, yes, you are that. Like, that's not necessarily because we don't know what's going to happen in the future, and you don't know how people change and how people don't change. So I think as kids shouldn't be going through like, gender reassignment surgery. That kids shouldn't go through any cosmetic or surgery that won't save their life. I think they can go through many other options. That
What do you think of? Because I know a big thing is like puberty blockers. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
I understand why they
Can't
do
be
put
out
puberty
here
blockers.
having a 12-year-old
Yeah.
penis like functioning in the, because puberty blocks is like stops you from like developing and getting
Further,
yeah.
yes. I don't know. There's not enough like I don't think there's enough data to fully see like whether it's reversible or not. I'm not sure whether there is or not. And also I think puberty blockers, that your hormones are very influential on how you grow, and not only in just like sexual characteristics but so many other characteristics. You know, like estrogen is associated with certain protective measures and certain, you know, destructive measures. There's so many different things. Testosterone as well, it influences you beyond that. So with me, with puberty blockers, I do have like a hesitance towards it. I don't think that you should be giving puberty blockers out like no one's business. I think there should be an extensive process with many healthcare professionals that get involved too in order to get to that point, because we need a little bit more data on things. You know, once you find enough data, we can actually see whether these kids that were in puberty blockers and they stopped it, that it was actually reversible
Okay.
or not.
Romeo's quiet. He doesn't want to get cancelled. He's like, let the kids out. I got a brush. He's like, I ain't touching the gays.
I'm not touching it. I don't want to get harmed.
So it's that community. He's actually just saying, He's like, well, Paki post this.
Romeo, do tell us. Please tell us.
What do you think?
What do you think about gender affirmation therapy?
I don't think I know a lot about it to have a set opinion on it, but like once I read more on it, you know.
Me, I'm untrained, though.
He knows exactly what it is, but it's like, ooh,
Untrained. I am just speaking.
Honestly, I don't know much about. I don't know if I speak for something I don't know about.
Do you agree with kids transitioning?
Sorry?
You agree with kids transitioning?
Say it with your chest.
I think-
With Jordan Peterson.
Jordan can answer that for you. Jordan!
Please stitch in.
I believe in having like a true understanding of yourself before you make a really life altering decision, and I believe that you should consult like the right people before making this decision. And if you've gone through those checks and balances and and you understand the consequences and the risks associated with it, and it's something that you are
12. just that background. It sounds like you're speaking to an adult. I'm just making sure you know the context.
Look, man.
It's a 12-year-old.
Is that baby?
What are they going to say?
Do you think when you were 12 years old,
I didn't know nothing. I was more worried whether my BlackBerry was working or not.
Yeah. BMF or whatever.
when I was 12, we won the Discovery Cup.
Okay, come back to the. We won't let you run.
Man,
You can say you don't answer. That's cool.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's I need to read more on it, to develop a proper opinion.
Alright. Would you guys ever take someone back for cheating on you? If someone cheated on you, would you take that back?
Nigga went from gender reassignment to cheating. He was like, it's
like-
too heavy.
Control. Take it. Top right.
You actually are the one that's supposed to be speaking.
Take
What do
it.
you mean I'm supposed to be speaking?
So if your hun
Hun.
Yeah, if she cheated on you, would you take her back? Romeo?
Guys
Romeo.
you guys have been together for 4 years.
What's that you doing?
So there's this TED talk by Esther Perel called
My nigga. I'll fuck with that.
there's this TED talk by Esther Perel called Rethinking Infidelity, and she basically speaks about how infidelity can actually aid a relationship more than it can do consequences to it, because it kind of the infidelity serves as an indication that there's like a deeper underlying problem. Yeah.
Oh shit.
So,
what?
yeah. So much so that it hurts them. It hurts them to a great extent that they decide to aid the problem. So I think taking someone back after they've cheated could be great, but I can understand why people wouldn't. You know what I mean?
What would you do, bro? Give your answer.
What I do, I probably wouldn't take them back. You
So
know,
you're not listening to Esther Perel.
I hear her. I hear her, and I know I agree with her.
Can?
But personally, not for me. It's just like you know how some people do. You feel like some people deserve love, but it's just like they don't deserve love from me. You know what I mean? It's just like I see you and you deserving, just not from me.
I can't
So
relate to that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Would you take someone back?
So, Jordan Peterson.
I agree.
There was this lecture he was giving, and he basically said like betrayal, more than anything before, more than it making me question you, it makes you question myself. Like, how was I so gullible and susceptible to not knowing who you are and not understanding that you are the type of person to do this, and like how many other times have I presented myself in the world and I've been like treated badly or betrayed. You have to not only like treat the wound that happened with her, but within yourself, because you're like, what type of a person am I to like garner betrayal? And I guess it's more nuanced. Like most of the time, it's like it's not entirely your fault, but it makes you question like your read on people and how you see the world and XYZ. So because of that, and because of me questioning everything, I think the wound would be too deep that like I would be reactive to every I don't think I'd be able to fully forgive.
Do you think it's ever about you though? Because like generally speaking, all the decisions that people take that hurt you about you. Because I remember I was having a conversation with my mom about like a certain friend of mine, and like how this friend of mine has these certain attributes that I don't necessarily think are worthwhile, and she was like, why do you take it personally? And I was like, damn, like why would I take it personally? Like why would I assume their cross? So is anything that anyone ever does from time to time that's hurtful towards you ever about you, or is it about themselves and what they truly wanted in that moment?
It's about you. There's a lot of, I'll explain now. There's a lot of situations where you can push someone into acting in sad behaviors, like whether it's like not giving them attention, not giving them the love that they've communicated to you, and just being like a shitty partner. You can push someone into, and I know ultimately it's their decision and they could have handled it better, but then like there's situations where like there's an expectation that's presented forward and you're unable to fulfill it as much as they communicate. And when it's given the opportunity where someone scratches that itch, they're like, oh, this is what I've been crying for, so I'm going to try and entertain that. And I'm not saying it's justified, right? But then you can also somewhat like orchestrate that idea that pushes them towards that. So in an element, if you didn't do that, they might not entirely do the other thing. So it's like I can't entirely say people's actions, whether good or bad, doesn't involve me. I play some part to it, and some I play a very little part in it. Maybe a bad person, but then to just say like most actions or that people or harm or whatever that do to me is never entirely about me. I think that's like an easy cop out to like move any accountability from your end, because yeah, people can be bad, but sometimes they're bad because of a set reason, and
As a result of you.
yeah, as a result of you. And I'm not saying they doing the right action, but it's like there are certain behaviors that could have prevented them from going down that rabbit hole.
But it's just for an example, let's look at people who have like an anxious avoidant like attachment style, and you found someone with an anxious avoidant attachment style. So obviously that's characterized by, you know, this seeking of affection, and once you get it, it's just like you leave you leave because it feels like too much for you. You know what I mean? And it's just like you found this person with an anxious attachment style, and you're going to expect not to get ghosted from time to time. Like it in that situation, you know, despite it only being like a singular example that I can bring up right now, it's more about like their unhealthy love style, and like, you know, the kind of relationship that they had with their caregivers when they were being brought up, because, you know, that also informs like, you know, the way your attachment style develops. And it's just like to what extent can you then take that personally, like genuinely, to what extent, like
I guess it's more like in the middle. I don't think you can say like, oh, if you find someone with an anxious attachment style, that the example you used, then they end up like just reaffirming the behaviors that you already knew prior. That doesn't mean that like it's either entirely your fault or it's not your fault at all. I think like people can find ways to make it work, and some people can't. I don't think you could just say it's either it's just this is who you are and this is what I should have expected, and therefore it didn't work, and therefore it has nothing to do with me. I guess there's like, it could be that or it could not be that. Maybe you were not equipped enough to handle that, you know, maybe you weren't patient enough, and that's not always the case, right? I can't give a like 100% answer for like the specific reason, but I feel like it's nuanced. But I wouldn't say, yeah, people's actions or betrayals are not entirely my fault. You know, it could be or it couldn't.
It's difficult to say, because when it comes to people feeling like, you're always going to feel, no matter who you are, you're always going to feel when someone does something bad to you that you perpetuated that like feeling. But also it's a very unhealthy way to go about things, because you're always going to think about like, what do I need to change about myself, when someone was actually just being quite terrible towards you. And I think when someone is terrible towards you, sometimes you just need to give it to that. If that person was going through something, that person had their own thing, there wasn't a proper clear communication that happened. I think it's fair to take your, you know, to reflect and reflect on a relationship. Say for instance, if you guys broke up or whatever the relationship is, it's fair to have self-reflection, but it's important not to self-condemn or demonize yourself, because at the end of the day, that person ended up doing the thing that is extremely hurtful, and we all hurt each other in a relationship. You can't go out of any relationship in life without hurting someone in some way, shape or form. It's how you react and how you face that hurt that really like gives you the that really shows how you're moving forward in a relationship and how you are as a person. I think it's important for us to not avoid our emotions and to not discard it just because you think that person did this thing out of hurt that you caused them. Because at the end of the day, you can hurt someone, but that does not give them any right to hurt you back as well. I just think so.
That depends.
No, I don't think so.
If I hurt you, now you wanna hurt me back.
Maybe.
Why?
Like, because you hurt me.
But two wrongs don't make a right.
For you.
Two wrongs don't make a
Yeah,
right.
dude, like
They're gonna hurt me back.
yeah, for me it's like, yeah,
Nah.
you feel my pain.
You know,
I don't want to be the bigger person. I do not.
Makes the world blind.
It's fine. The world can be blind. I'm not gonna be blind alone. What?
You can't
No,
be blind.
no, no,
it,
no,
it
no.
doesn't help the situation, especially if it's someone that you truly love, regardless of whether it's a romantic relationship or it's a platonic relationship. Just because someone hurt you, you're gonna hurt them back just to like equal the playing field. That make it it's not gonna do anything but what's it called, worsen the situation. You know what I mean? Because everyone's gonna get into their defenses of like why they did this, and you know, and people are gonna be not
So,
under.
Romeo. If I slept with your girlfriend, what?
I kind of stopped recording because of battery low.
It stopped?
No, it didn't stop.
Is it still recording?
But it's still recording.
Okay. If I had to sleep with your girlfriend,
Yeah.
pipe her down aggressively, take a video, send it to you. You'll be like, oh, no, let me just be peaceful and not get him back.
Why would I get you back?
No, I'm asking. You wouldn't.
So now I'm gonna sleep with your
I would,
girlfriend.
and you.
Now I'm gonna see that to get back into, to get a lick back, like vengeance has ever been anything great. Like I don't think vengeance has ever produced like, you know, a worthwhile result. It's just like that instant gratification of getting your lick back, and then
Tupac
it's
say, I ain't a killer, but don't push me. Revenge is like the sweetest thing next to getting pussy. I want my revenge, nigga.
Tupac died in a drive-by, and that's your example. Shame on you.
It's fine.
What happened to him?
Yeah.
Genuinely, honestly, I don't think getting your leg back and being vengeful does anything worthwhile. It's just it's instant gratification with an even worse consequence. Like, yeah, you sleep with my girlfriend and you send a video to me of you piping her down. Now, like, what's that gonna do?
It's gonna make me settled.
No,
I can
and then
function now and move and continue with my life. And
and then I do it back to you.
You know what?
You're toxic.
No, I do not. I will not create.
I do it back to you, and then it's just like okay, we'll see who comes out on top, because no one's trying to be the bigger person. Like,
yeah. I guess you'll be the bigger person. Not me, nigga.
Sometimes you just gotta tell the person nonsense and then keep it moving. You don't have to go do revenge.
telling them what do you mean telling them nonsense?
Like confront them.
Like confront them or whatever. And sometimes you don't need to confront them. Sometimes you just need to be like, cool, mans, you know what?
We're
I
still
don't need
homies.
y'all. No, we're not still homies.
Why?
Because you did that. That's terrible. That's not a good friend.
But then, you know, you can still rekindle and speak about it. We don't, you know, have to end things.
I'm sorry. Nah, that's not good.
This is
You
not
have a wife and the man does the same thing to your wife. No.
a video.
Set a boundary and leave the friend.
at that point, it's just like, you know, what is it even worth it confronting the situation? You know, like if you deliberately hurt me, and you know, you expect me to confront you. Sure, I might do that and tell you how much it's hurt me, and I'll express my dissatisfaction, but I don't think there's any reconciliation that follows. It's just, you know, it's I bid you adieu, as opposed to me now getting back at you, and like it's just this toxic anger that's embedded within you for such a long time. Like, I hope I get back at that person, because you know anger has, like, you know, physiological, you know, consequences as well. You know what I mean? And like certain kind of stresses just, you know, make you sick in a way, anxiety, and it's just you're always thinking like, damn, you know.
Fuel you.
They fuel you, but like to what? Like, is it sustainable? It's not sustainable. I don't believe in being vengeful. Two wrongs don't make a right.
Tell that to Alex Omosi.
Wait, and Alex Omosi said being vengeful is fine.
It's not being vengeful. He used anger as a motivation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I agree then. Yeah. He's a millionaire. What do I know? I'm angry now.
You're angry now, but you don't get money for it.
No, I'm gonna get money from it. Yeah,
Yeah.
If everything I said, I'm gonna be angry and be vengeful.
Yeah, he says sometimes fear is a bigger motivator than like hope and stuff. He was saying that like people should somewhat also look at like negative role models, as in like you see someone in the streets that you grew up in and he's making nothing of their life and you're like, I don't want to be like that, so I'm gonna work harder.
Did you have someone like that in your life?
Bro, you walk around the streets, you see too many of them.
I'm saying someone who you have a personal relationship
Too much of them, dog. Yeah. Do you? I'm sure you do. You grew up in Soweto. I'm joking.
Oh. Nah, I can't. I do, but I can't say because he actually watches.
Yeah, you don't have to say the name. You can just say, yeah, you do.
Yeah, I do.
But now you said he actually watches. Now he's like, is it me?
Am I the drama? Am I the drama?
There's just someone I don't want to be like exactly, and yeah, just I wish I could speak about it, but if I start speaking, it's just that'll.
Maybe it's gonna be like the wake up call he needs.
Nah.
He's too far gone.
Yeah, I mean, too far gone. Yeah.
Shout out, homie, if you're watching. Romeo speaking about you.
Appreciate you, man.
Hey, man, like, comment, subscribe.
You are the motivation for this talk.
He wakes up and he thinks I look like him.
No, man.
Every day he's like, you're running red free in his mind. He's like, yeah.
The minute he's not studying, he's like,
Eish time, I'm fit.
Dude, it's been since I was young, man. Like, you just have.
He's been flopping since you're young. Is there anything you guys want to speak about?
You wanna what?
Is there any talking points?
It was my phone, man. I needed. Talking points. Whose love did you want most as a kid?
That's interesting. I had a lot of love for my mom, but probably my dad. Yeah. Don't ask a follow-up question. Yeah, probably that. That was.
He didn't go get mold.
Bro, he's still getting milk. Yeah, the Congo milk doesn't expire. Yeah, probably that. Yeah. And do you? Do you wanna ask? You can ask. I'm actually joking. You can ask. Go ahead.
And how did you go about seeking it?
I didn't. It was like a whole. I think that's actually common within like single mom households where it's like your mom's doing so much, so when there's like a desire for like, let's say, your dad, you kind of feel like that will take away from what she's doing. So you don't wanna echo it because it's like it should be like, oh shit, bro, I'm trying to be your mom and dad, and you're still seeking him after he's not here. And because you, as a kid, also it's quite weird, you're aware of that, you don't want to bring it up because you'll be like, I'm kind of like tarnishing what you're doing by somewhat desiring him to be part of my life because he's not, and he chose not to be, and if I bring it up, it will like reinforce the fact that she's, or the sense that she's inadequate. Yeah. So
I actually wrote this lyric the other day. I was like, Sorry.
I'm joking.
I was like, slit your wrists in my initials because I know you love to cut, just to serve as a reminder you were simply not enough.
Damn. Who was it dedicated to?
No, this is something that.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, no, I completely get what you're saying because I remember my mom asked me like, "Yo, she was like, did you ever feel like you didn't have a father? Don't you think I played both roles well?" And I was like, "Yo, what a loaded question." and it's just like, you'd never want to make your mother feel like, this sort of like, inadequacy, because it's someone that you love the most. You know what I mean? Do you think your father's abandonment of you has played any role within your adult relationships?
Like my Nick jerk reaction is to say no, but probably I think. I'm joking. Relax.
Cry.
I don't think you can cry. It's a safe space.
No, it's not hot. Anyways, I don't know. Maybe I'm just creating connections that aren't there. But like, yeah, I guess like for the longest time, I just renounced relationships entirely and just said I don't want it. But I guess there was some sort of a sense of like, okay, now I don't want to give myself and put everything into someone and they reject me and run away, or like try and pour love and affection and it's not reciprocated. I think that was like a biggest fear. So that whole Chris Williamson thing, the inner catadol, where it's like instead of just admitting you can't get something, and entirely not that I couldn't get it, it's just like I revoked the desire of it entirely. So I'm like, relationships scare me, and I don't know if I can fully pour my heart into someone, and the idea of them leaving will flip and crush me. I take the framing of like, I don't care about relationship, and I don't want to be in love because love is stupid and dumb. So I choose that framing and that narrative to just reinforce the fear and actually give it a better outlook than, oh no, you're just scared of getting hurt. I do think,
being truthfully honest with
being like, do you actually believe what you're saying, or are you using that framing just to justify behaviors that somewhat are seen as weak if you like echo it out.
So it's just like a different framing. And how do you know that's like the honest framing? Like, well, what inner work made you realize that you weren't being honest with yourself?
Because I think it was getting to a point where it became kind of ridiculous, and I felt like it wasn't serving me in any capacity. Because I do think I'm like super emotional and caring and loving, and actually love like having a safe space. But then I would be like, whenever it gets too real, I'd be like, oh, scary. And I kind of had to, like, even consciously, I'm still doing it now, watch myself and being like, oh no, you're doing that thing again, self-sabotaging. It's too real, and you don't want to actually care entirely because it will actually hurt.
It's just like when you prevent yourself from feeling the terrible things, in the sense you also prevent yourself from feeling like the good things associated with fully enveloping yourself within like a certain pursuit. You know what I mean? So you might think that you're doing yourself justice, but you're also doing yourself injustice as well. Having your walls up,
Yeah, nigga. And you?
Why do you have your walls up?
I don't.
No, I'm saying.
Oh. No, let's go back. Who do you wish the initial question, Rick? You just back to both into, you all have the same experience attached. The initial question was like, who do you wish you had?
Whose love did you want the most as a child?
I hate the way you said, because your clips are going to be so shitty. Like, they won't see your face.
As a child.
Fuck.
Let's do it again.
You want to do it again?
Whose love did you want most as a child?
No one. I was actually the last born, so I was equally loved by a lot of people in my life. So I never really desired, and it's like weird, like desired extra love from everyone. Like my mom paid a lot of attention. My siblings all looked after me and they cared for me. And my dad as well was amazing, So I never really seeked everyone's thing. I think that was not always. It's not always like that for the youngest, but I do think that a lot of the times you do have that like privilege of just being free and knowing that there's so many people that have your back. So I think that was the nice part. So I didn't really seek love like, hey, look at me, this is like what I need, I just felt that most people did love me. Yeah, so it wasn't like something that I really seeked for as much.
What did you seek?
A lot of like, I think when I was younger, I was very like intense about like my academics and doing well. Like I hated failing. That was my worst thing. So I think that was it. Like I was very like self-seeking, and then when I grew older, like even more, I became not competitive, but I understood that I'm just gonna do what like I gotta do, and yeah, I never really like seeked. Yeah, it wasn't just like a seeking thing. I don't know why. Like I was very self-driven and very like competitive. So, yeah.
What do you think is your most unlovable attribute?
Your question to you. Not the one that you said now, the initial one of like, would you?
Who's loved that I want most as a child? Probably the friends that I had around me. Cause in primary school I was a loser in a sense, you know what I mean? Like dude, I can recall times in primary school where I was like, you know, walking alone, you know, at break time. You know, I remember there was these two guys, Dylan and Jared. Dylan and yeah, I remember this one time, you know, Dylan and Jared were sitting on the grandstands, and then I was like, yo, and then they were eating lunch, you know, and then I was like, yo, can I join you guys? And they're like, dude, no. So I was like, yo, I was like, okay. I go, okay, yeah.
Dylan and Jared White.
Dylan was white, Jared colored.
Oh, okay. His name was actually Gerard. I'm joking.
Yeah, dude, I remember, that was like grade 5, you know, and it's just like, yeah, dude, I'd be like walking, you know, just and like as a result, you know, I became a very like performative person, so as to like, you know, make myself a bit more like likable. So, you know, I guess I resorted to being like, you know, the butt of the joke so that I could like, you know, be around you know, around people. So then I became class clown and everything. So I think maybe if there was like, you know, a genuine love around like, you know, the friends that I did have when I was younger, I wouldn't necessarily be I wouldn't have assumed those attributes at that time. Type shit.
What's the time there? No, on the phone. How many minutes?
45.
45.
Yeah.
We've been recording for 45 minutes.
Shout out, yes, space, bro.
That's crazy. Okay, sorry Romeo.
Yeah.
Flex said he's cold, so we have to cut this short. Yeah, guys, spam Flex in the comments if you got this far. Thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate you guys. We're trying to make something big, and if you usually here, please consider subscribing. You know, I'm trying to feed my family. Chop rice.
Tight.
Chop chop.
Away.
Alright. Till next time.